Good morning, everybody. I want to talk about sex and dreams today, and particularly how we can use dreams to play around with making space around the shame that inevitably comes in with dreams around sexuality and with sexuality in our lives in general. One of the problems in this culture is that we look at sexuality in the most narrow way possible. We think about it in terms of the act of sexuality, instead of understanding sexuality in a much broader way. Reality is that, our sexuality is linked to all of who we are, our ability to just be in our feelings, our ability to feel love, our ability to feel sensual, our ability to feel. Our nervous system doesn't divide our feelings from our sexual feelings, for better or worse. They overlap, and our fears that are rooted in shame often keep us from they don't just turn off the sexual feelings, they turn off our feelings. They turn off our very capacity to breathe. They're like, I can't feel that. So we hold our whole bodies against what is really just a natural thing. And the fact that we have sexual feelings doesn't mean that we need to act on it, because that's not what sexuality is about. It's only an aspect of sexuality. Being able to be with sexual feelings on that more tantric level, if you will, of just like the pleasure of sensuality, the pleasure of being alive, the pleasure of feeling that kind of life energy. Libido isn't just sexual energy. Libido is our life energy, or it's linked to our capacity to breathe, our capacity to have passion, our capacity to feel fully alive. One of the simplest techniques you can do when you have a dream that has a sexual attraction in it, for example. So this is one of the scenarios that often happens with us in session or at retreats, is someone will bring in a dream where there's a sexual attraction and they don't know what to do with the attraction. For some reason, there'll be some moral taboo around it. And one of the things you have to understand, it's true in general, but in dreams particularly, the sexual feelings are broader, they're more metaphorical. So unless you're having some moral issue around sexuality, in other words, if you're having an affair, if you're having, if you're doing something that you know is out of integrity around your sexuality, then that's a different issue. And if you have a sexual dream that's related to someplace you feel like you're out of integrity, you need to start there. But then the way to play around with it is to think about it in terms of, what is that attraction? What is it to feel loved? What is it to be seen and honored, cherished in that way? And one of the simplest ways to do that in a dream where there's a sexual attraction is to just flip it. To just, instead of staying in the mode of I'm attracted to them or they're attracted to me. And again, I'm assuming here that it's a dream where there's genuine attraction and not some kind of abusiveness. If there's abusiveness, that's like the integrity dream. It's a whole different issue. But if there's just like the sexual attraction, the simplest thing to do often is to just be the other person in the dream. And that can be an incredibly profound experience to instead of just feeling your own attraction or feeling the angst that you feel around the attraction of oh my God, I'm in a relationship and why am I having this feeling? What's it like to just let yourself be seen, let yourself know that you're attractive, let yourself know that you're worthy of love, and take a breath into that. And what that does is it takes us out of all the normal patterns that we fall into around our sexuality. It takes it out of whether you do anything with that energy in the dream or in your practice around the dream is a whole other issue. The bigger question is what is it like to feel love? What is it like to feel worthy of love? What is it like to know that you're beautiful, that you're attractive enough, beautiful enough, no matter how you look, no matter how you rank in this weird culture obsession with certain body types, certain types of sexuality? What's it like to just take a breath and turn the equation around a little bit and see yourself through another person's eyes with love, assuming there's a mutual attraction there, which is the kind of dream that I'm really talking about. But even if there's not, like, just like, what is it like to take a breath around your sexual feelings and feel them on a level of sensuality? Like, how do they connect to the rest of your body? How do they connect to the rest of your feelings? Instead of always taking sexuality and putting it in the narrowest funnel possible, squeezing the broader energy out of that. What we don't realize so often is that our sexual shame doesn't just affect our sexuality, doesn't just affect sexual relationships. It keeps us from the innocence of just being in our bodies, appreciating ourselves and appreciating others. And when you're working with a dream in this way, what it does is it makes space for you to know yourself in a different way, to like put the shame. I mean, I wouldn't try to overcome whatever feelings of shame are there. Usually they're related to voices, internalized beliefs, limiting beliefs, really, that are based on some kind of fear, legitimate fear. I don't want to like have a judgment about that. Like, there's a reason there's been so much sexual abuse in our culture. Sexuality has been used in so many ways that are out of integrity and not healthy, that I think we can do two things. We can be tender. We can look at whatever beliefs are there, whatever parts of us, our voices are there that we've learned in our culture. I think we can be tender and be like, okay, so you can work it both ways. You could turn toward the shame, if you will. Sorry about the noise. You could turn toward the shame, if you will, and bring some love and consciousness to that. Like, what is that sexuality is so scary in our culture? What is it that I went through? What is it that my parents went through? What is it that people around us have been through around our sexuality? And can we bring some love and tenderness to the pain that's there? This is part of the sexuality and part of the libido also. Can I learn to be in the full spectrum of feelings, which includes the fear, it includes the pain, maybe even grief around the lost innocence on the one hand. And then can I also, like, whatever else is there in the dream that maybe touches back into an old kind of innocence that we all were born with around our sexuality, around our capacity to feel, around our capacity to breathe, around just knowing that we're worthy of love. And let yourself play around with a different experience with yourself, with sexuality, with love. And even on a spiritual level, like, can I know that I'm worthy of love on every level, whether that's purely physical or it's spiritual? I mean, I think on a spiritual level, we don't realize how much shame and sexual shame specifically in the sort of inhibition and repression of our own knowing that we're lovable, it actually also turns us away from any kind of feeling that we're loved by God, that we're loved by the divine, that love exists in consciousness all around us. All of that. I feel like I could go on all day. I feel like there's possibly a series we could do. I might work with some other specific dreams in the future, but I think that's enough for today. I just wanted to introduce that. I hope that's helpful for you in your inner work, in whatever struggle you have around sexuality and shame, or in supporting you in whatever pleasure you have in that regard. And yeah, until next time, good dreams. If you like the video, please consider liking and subscribing, sharing the video if you know someone who would be interested. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.